Pierre's inmate doctor has some type of self-inflicted injury to his left arm.
An inmate takes drastic action and leaves his cell a bloody mess. While another...
You will explain this? Why you got a homemade cuff key in your property?
...is found with dangerous contraband.
Having a handcuff key is mainly for my defense.
You're looking at probably one of the biggest screw-ups in the United States sitting right here looking at you.
An old-timer counts his losses.
When I lost my father, my sister, my brother, my mother, pretty much my whole family's passed away since I've been in here.
For me being homosexual, I'm like an outcast. I'm like scum of the earth here.
And a younger inmate looks forward to hitting the streets.
Oh, thank God it's over.
There are more than 102,000 men and women doing time in the Florida State prison system. Of the 56 state prisons for men, one is considered the end of the line. The place male inmates go when other prisons can't handle them. The Santa Rosa Correctional Institution, located on Florida's Panhandle.
Pretty much predominantly in here you have two emotions. It's anger and fear. Okay? Now if you go out there acting like an ass, you know, you're going to get treated like an ass. If you step out of line, you're going to get put back in line.
Except for a few brief periods, Jack Hill has been in Florida prisons since 1977. He's been at Santa Rosa for the past year.
The one thing this place will do, it will do one of two things. And this is not physical, it's all mental. It will either break you down, you will be filled with hate, anger, you know. The other way is you try to you have to stay focused, and after a while that becomes a way of habit. You don't even think about it, you know. You see a bad situation, you try to steer away from it, you know.
Hill is currently one of the more than 2,800 inmates housed at Santa Rosa. Those considered to be the worst of the worst are assigned to the close management unit.
We have the largest close management population currently in the state of Florida. Those inmates are more assaultive and more disruptive than the normal population inmates in the state. The close management inmates have proven to be an inability to live in open population due to their repeated disciplinary reports within the department, their disruption of institutions throughout the state, their disobeying orders from staff, their non-receptiveness to the correctional process as a whole.
The 1,100 inmates in Santa Rosa's close management unit represent more than a third of the prison's population. They all live under the most restrictive conditions, and some handle it better than others. A medical emergency on the unit has required correction staff to respond in hazmat suits. Moments earlier, an inmate was discovered bleeding heavily in his cell, apparently from self-inflicted wounds. The inmate, now being escorted to medical, is Armando Doctor. Serving 15 years for aggravated assault with a weapon, Doctor has been known to cut himself when under stress.
Watch your head, Doctor. Go ahead, close the door.
Better you cut.
Go ahead, close the door. Medical emergency.
Stand up, let me see. You get the gauze.
You're not gonna fall. We got
Put down.
Put your foot down. We'll support you. We'll support you. Get your foot down.
We did a 10 o'clock security check. Everything was fine in here. About 10:15, 10:20, we heard some yelling, some commotion. So I stepped in just to investigate the noise. That's when I found inmate Doctor sitting on his toilet. He had cut his arm in two places. Was refusing to cuff up and come out. Was bleeding. I notified additional staff to suit up with the precautionary suits. Just come in and handcuff him and bring him out to medical to check his injuries.
You got a wheelchair available?
Yeah, we got one over.
You need to get in up front. Maybe you need an IV.
Give me a wheelchair.
Wheelchair.
Stop moving around.
be still. Let her do what she needs to do.
I'm not doing nothing. You already done enough, Doc.
The cutting incident was not Doctor's first encounter with staff today.
They got one in there.
Earlier, he had a disciplinary hearing for masturbating in front of a female corrections officer.
We turned around and found him guilty. He turned around. I had a feeling that he was going to do this. This is his thing. This is what he does.
He's kind of noted for doing things like this, acting out by cutting himself if something doesn't go right for him. Inmate Doctor is very rooted in reality, and what you saw with the slumped over, his very weak voice, you know, I think it's just manufactured to gain attention and to try to, you know, send him to a different environment, such as our inpatient facilities.
While Doctor received a disciplinary report for the masturbation incident, he will not receive one for cutting himself.
No, we don't usually write DRs for self-injurious behavior. He'll be seen by a psych and checked out, make sure everything's okay, and we'll clean his cell up and they'll send him back down to us.
I want to know what type of weapon he usually cut himself with, whether it's still in the stall or did he throw it out on the way out here. But it hasn't been recovered. Sometimes they'll take their batteries, peel the outside label off, sharp them on the ground, make an excellent razor. And you still have enough handle left to slice at will. So I'm going to check the walkway here, make sure nothing got thrown out.
That's a lot of blood. That's a lot of blood.
Carlton Williams, serving a 5-year sentence for possession of cocaine and fleeing police, works as a houseman or cell block custodian.
Currently, my job is right now cleaning feces, blood, chemical agents. I volunteer to be a houseman just to get game time. I get 10 days a month, 4 months a year of game time. I've been for 18 months. I have a month and a half left. I go up in November and I go home next year. When I enter a cell, a room that has blood or anything that's endangering me or harming me, I always be cautious. I tell myself I gotta protect myself and don't let none of this stuff get on me. That's why I have this suit and the chemical agents and gloves and whatever else I need to protect. Gotta be done if I want my game time. Ready to get it over with, go ahead and get on like to the cell. Cleaning the blood, it's a lot. It's a lot. This was the first one I ever did with that much blood, so I guess I'll be more experienced on it next time.
The cell's been decontaminated now. It's all been cleaned out and bleached. All the body fluids removed. Normally what happens is once the inmate's bandaged up by medical, he's directly sent back down. Now in inmate Doctor's case, he won't be sent back down. He had to have some IV fluids put in for the loss of blood, so he'll remain with medical staff probably throughout the rest of the day and then be returned to us tomorrow. But his cell's been decontaminated and it's ready for him to come back.
Coming up.
Medical has been notified and is en route.
Officers rush to Armando Doctor's cell for another emergency.
Oh, like damn, he did it again.
And
That's made out of metal. That's a homemade cuff key.
a cell search leads to big trouble for one inmate.
My name is Christopher Ceballos.
I'm Vincent Serrano. They call me 100.
We gonna go ahead and drop y'all a new song. Go ahead and hit the beat. Go ahead and handle that.
If I had 100 grand, Lord, that's all I need for one good chance. If I don't blow, then I'll be damned. If I had 100 grand, Lord, I might go off the deep end and go blow it all this weekend. It might be just enough to take me out the gutter, keep the law off my back and get me out of trouble. Stay out the streets and keep the promise that I made my mama. If I don't bubble off of that, I don't know how to hustle. Give me 100 grand and I'ma flip it like a gymnast. Give you 100 grand, you gon' smoke it like a chimney. I'll make it 10 times that a meal before I finish. You just better hope I die before I get a chance to spend it, baby. If I had 100 grand, Lord, I might go off the deep end and go blow it all this weekend. Light school, baby. TRF.
Light school, TRF, baby. Don't worry, y'all know.
Appreciate that.
At the Santa Rosa Correctional Institution in Florida, dreams of what could be run through the imaginations of many, but less so for those who have already spent decades on the inside.
To be honest with you, probably you're looking at probably one of the biggest screw-ups in the United States sitting right here looking at you. I've been incarcerated since I was 18 years old. When I was 18, I did a burglary and received a natural life sentence for it.
Jack Hill was convicted of both burglary and assault. And although he received a life sentence, he has been eligible for parole 3 times.
I've been on parole and violated, and I'm back. Let me say something about parole real quick. I've heard people say this a lot of times. Man, you get parole. What are you doing back? You know, how did you come back? How did you mess up? You know, when you're on parole, you actually live under a more stricter environment than you do in prison, okay? If you get a traffic ticket on the street, say you run a stop sign, you're gonna pay your little ticket, you go on about your way. That's not gonna happen to me. They're gonna send me back to prison. So you live with this threat over your head constantly, and it's a lot of pressure.
These days, Hill lives with a little less pressure than roughly 1/3 of Santa Rosa's inmates. He is housed in a general population unit where there is more freedom of movement and privileges.
See that right there? That's nectar of the gods in there. That's nectar of the gods. Can't get beer, but you can drink coffee.
Borrowing coffee from a neighbor is considerably more difficult, if not impossible, for the 1,100 inmates housed in the close management unit.
Both of you step over here one at a time. Up, turn around.
They are in confinement for violence or other serious rule violations and are subject to frequent cell inspections for weapons, drugs, or other forms of contraband.
Turn around back out of that cell. Right now, we're going to conduct a routine cell search of a couple of cells up here in Wing 1. Every shift has to shake down a certain amount of inmates every day. And this is what we'll do. We'll go in there and have them cuff up, and they'll submit to restraints. We'll place them in the shower and then go through their belongings they have in their cell. The control contraband for the safety, sanitation, and the security of the institution. We're just going up there and we'll pick a number that's random. It kind of keeps them off their toes, because if we were to go in and start searching from cell 1 all the way down, then the others will know, hey, we're going to get searched next. Let's get rid of our contraband. So doing it at random, it gives us a good chance to find something if they do have anything up in there. See, this one, this is not right. Feel this one. Feel that one.
We'll open both of them.
Here, go ahead and open that one, Sarge. Yeah, that's so. What is that? Whoa, whoa.
Here we go.
Let's see that.
Look at that.
What do you got there?
Man, that's a cuff key. That's a homemade cuff key. That's made out of metal. That's a homemade cuff key. This right here can get somebody killed. This is why we do our shakedowns and do them at random. If they knew we were coming, we would have never found this. It would have been gone. They would have flushed it. This right here is very serious.
The key has been discovered in the cell of inmates Lionel Bowden and Fausto Duran.
This right here can get an officer killed.
But it was in Bowden's deodorant container.
Think about if we didn't find this, what could have happened? We don't know as of right now what he was planning to do.
Bowden is serving a 21-year sentence for armed robbery. He has been a close management inmate for almost a year after having been caught with a shank.
Yep, look, it fits in here perfect. You didn't get the dimensions just right because it fell over a little bit, but it fit in there and it turned. May Bowden, you want to explain this? Well, you got a homemade cuff key in your property?
Nothing to explain that. You found it in the property, you know.
Okay.
I can't explain it.
Why'd you make it?
In case I need it.
Need it for what?
I don't know, LT. You know, there's nothing. I don't know. You know, some things might happen at a certain time. I might need it. I might be getting.
You gonna escape with it? Is that what you're gonna do?
Hell no. Why would I want to escape?
Okay. I'm gonna have you write a statement out. You understand? We need to go ahead and house him alone. Immediately go ahead and put him on heightened security. Okay?
Roger.
Later, Bowden explained he made the key from a battery.
You take the outside casing. You have to roll it, you know what I'm saying, so you can be able to grip it. That's all the point of rolling it for.
How did you get the dimensions right, though? I mean, have you ever even held the cuffing?
Yeah, somebody told me. Truthfully, I used to make them and sell them at one point in time.
How much does a cuff kick
$25.
All right, look, this is what we need to do. Sarge, go with Robinette, get all of Bowden's property packed up. We're going to go ahead and ship him over to E-Dorm. He's going to be placed on heightened security, single cell over there. Get an inmate out, get his stuff packed up, let's get him out of here.
Sometimes a risk has to be taken, though. You know, if I'm making it, I get caught with it, then I lose the consequences. I got to accept what the consequences is.
Inmate Bowden, I'm going to go ahead and place you on heightened security. We'll go ahead and move you out the dorm, all right? Appreciate your honesty with that. You don't want to make any other comments? No. Turn around, cuff up. All right, back out. Kneel down. Black box.
The black box is a security device placed over Bowden's handcuffs to cover the keyhole and prevent him from tampering with the lock.
Bowden, you understand you're being placed on heightened security. This will be required every time you exit your cell, right?
Him having a handcuff key, that's pretty scary. He could turn around and either hurt a staff member or being on the transport, trying to escape on the transport. You know, there's been officers in other states that have gotten killed because inmates escaping, and they've had handcuff keys, and we don't want that to happen.
Coming up,
Bowden, same right there.
Lionel Bowden answers to authorities, and
I know I'm a man, but I consider myself a woman.
An inmate deals with his identity.
Inmate Williams was sentenced as a male, so that's the way he's treated, is as a male inmate.
Like all prisons, the Santa Rosa Correctional Institution near Pensacola, Florida, has strict codes of conduct for inmates.
The staff of this facility keep very tight reins on this inmate population because if you continue to allow little violations of rules go, then they turn into big things. And with this caliber of this population, we have to manage it this way.
More than 3/4 of Santa Rosa's inmate population are serving time for violent crimes, including assault, rape, and murder. But even those convicted of nonviolent crimes are expected to follow all the same rules and protocols.
They nitpick about every little thing. They're so by the rules here. You gotta walk a narrow line, and if you do anything outside of that, this is where you end up in confinement with nothing. My headpiece, this is just a t-shirt, really. This is illegal. I'm not supposed to be wearing this, really.
Jerez Williams has been at Santa Rosa for 7 months.
I've been incarcerated 3 times, also for the same thing, for violation of probation for prostitution.
Williams says he began turning tricks at 12 years old and has been arrested 8 times for prostitution.
The prostitution, when we first catch one, it's a misdemeanor. And after the 3rd one, they can upgrade it to a felony. And that's what happened with me. But from what the judge told me, if I get caught again for prostitution, it would be a 5-year sentence.
And you still consider going back?
I can't help it. I cannot help it. If someone gave me like $1 million right now and told me, you don't have to do this no more, I think I'll just upgrade everything I have and continue doing what I do.
Williams's many mugshots offer a glimpse of his life as a transgender prostitute.
I don't know why. I'm addicted to it, so that's all I can say.
One time, he was even mistakenly booked into a county jail as a female.
I know I'm a man, but I consider myself a woman. On the street, I live my life as a woman. My name on the street is Sharoya Taylor. That is not an advertisement. I was taking hormones on the street, off and on. I plan on eventually getting the whole surgery done if I ever make enough money to do it.
But Williams' preference to live as a woman makes no difference at Santa Rosa.
Inmate Williams was sentenced as a male and sent to a male facility here at Santa Rosa. So that's the way he's treated, is as a male inmate.
Though he has spent time in various jails and prisons, Williams finds Santa Rosa especially hard to deal with.
I have to deal with a lot of negativity about me being who I am. Say with me being homosexual, I'm like an outcast compared to everyone else in here. It's like I'm like scum of the earth here. Out of all times I've been to prison, I've never been through this much crap.
Currently, Williams has little, if any, contact with other inmates. He is housed in a single-man confinement cell.
An inmate, I'm supposed, wrote a request form on me and said that I was gonna make an attempt to escape.
Now, why would an inmate write that?
I have no idea. They didn't want me in a room with them or didn't want me in the dorm. I don't know, it could have been anything.
The anonymous letter also stated that Williams was going to kill 2 corrections officers during his escape attempt. Williams believes he was framed, but was placed in confinement pending an investigation.
Sometimes it is hard for us as security to be able to determine which ones may have validity and which ones not. So that's why we take them serious when they have to do with anything with escape or staff safety.
But within a few more days, Williams can put his current troubles behind him. He only has 1 week left on his sentence.
This is a release handout, you know, just letting you know all the things that I have to do. Like I have to go register as a convicted felon in the county that I'm going home to. Right now, I'm overwhelmed with excitement. I just want my freedom. I want to see my friends. I want to see my family. So it's kind of hard being like enclosed in here by myself because I just want to like go crazy.
Coming up.
All right, guys, nurse in the building. See if we can get him up in the wheelchair.
Armando Doctor prompts another emergency response. And later,
What were you planning to do with the handcuff?
Lionel Bowden faces a disciplinary review for his homemade cuff key. Prisons like the Santa Rosa Correctional Institution in Florida can be dirty places. Blood, sweat, feces, and urine are part of the fabric of life here. The task of cleaning that fabric, the inmates' clothes and linens, falls squarely on the 18 inmates who work in the laundry facility. Among them is Michael Jacobs.
We operate day to day, 8 to 10 hours a day. You know, we deal with a lot of different things here. I mean, you got fights, stabbings, a lot of stuff that goes on here at Santa Rosa. It's a level 6 facility.
Some of the worst laundry comes from the close management units.
Violent inmates back there, you know what they're capable of. It's just a place you don't want to be. It's Florida's most troublesome inmates, all in one building.
The most hazardous laundry is washed separately from all the rest.
These yellow bags right here, these are the ones that usually come in. What we do, we usually don't open them until we stick them into the machine, you know. This is daily, the blood and stuff from cutters and suicide.
Armando Doctor, the close management 1 inmate, recently contributed to the latest load of yellow bag laundry when he deliberately cut himself inside his cell. The damage was so severe, he needed a transfusion to replace the blood he lost. 2 days later, he's cut again.
The doctor laid out down there on the floor. Appears inmate Doctor has a type of self-inflicted injury to his left arm. It came up on the cell. He was unresponsive, laying on the floor. It became necessary for us to do a life safety check. Now he's setting up restraint. Medical has been notified and is en route.
He's been doing this for quite a while. This is probably about his 5th time he's cut, and we've had to pull him out and deal with him this way. And it's getting to be about a monthly thing.
What's going on with you? Why are you doing this? Nobody want to do this. Who did you try to talk to? SARS. Did you talk to mental health? I tried to get SARS. She did them. He ignored me. Did you declare a psychological emergency? Yes, sir. From who? Hit me in the face. Who did? And Sergeant threatened me. Seems to me like you should be in fear of your life from yourself.
All right, guys, nurse in the building. See if we can get him up in the wheelchair.
Work with him, doctor. Use your feet, man. Come on, work with him. Watch your step backing up.
While inmate doctor has made serious allegations, mental health staff say this is not the first time. After several evaluations, they say doctor has ulterior motives for cutting himself.
He's kind of noted for doing things like this if something doesn't go right for him. But what he's doing is not related to his mental health. It's, in my opinion, it's more manipulative. He's trying to get out of something, or he's using us as a way to manipulate the system. So we want to keep an eye on the cutting, because we don't want anyone to die, which he really doesn't want to die. But he could accidentally do it.
It's a new cut. It's not the same cut as the previous one. It's a new cut on his left upper bicep up here. Looks fairly deep. Ultimately, it's for some type of secondary gain, and he's going to continue doing it until he either gets what he wants or there's no way of telling. I don't know what it is that he's trying to get out of it.
She threatened me. She threatened me.
Before doctor can be brought back to his cell, it has to be cleaned and disinfected. And once again, that job falls to houseman Carlton Williams.
I was like, damn, he did it again. They should have known that from the get-go. Kind of
this time, officers have retrieved the object doctor used to cut himself.
It actually does look like a piece of razor blade. It actually had it tucked in his cheek.
After the cleanup, corrections officers remove all of doctor's possessions from his cell to prevent another cutting incident.
Removing his property is not for punishment, it's for his own protection. So it's kind of going to be up to him how far this goes. And we're here to actually to protect him, and we just have to take it step by step.
Doctor will remain under observation from both security and mental health staff. He will be given back his mattress and other possessions once it's determined it's safe to do so.
Watch your head, doctor. Listen to him. When he lays down, don't want you to get up, okay? All right, y'all be. He's gonna. I know you're gonna be good. Yeah. Y'all take time from now. Just hold stick right here. We're not going to leave him unattended. We will come by and check on him and whatnot. My staff have already been instructed. They're very good at what they do, and they will make sure that he stays safe, and we will not allow him to seriously get harmed. Back out.
Coming up.
The first time I cut, I was in my teens.
Armando Doctor explains his actions, but then is confronted by correction staff.
You said to me, "You got me, Sarge. You got me." Those were your exact words. You got me. Why are you going to tell them on camera something different? So I walked up and caught you red-handed with it.
Nothing changes here. Every day is just like yesterday. Tomorrow's going to be the same as today, you know. About the only thing changes here is the faces. After a while, even the faces begin to be the same, you know. That's one of the things about doing time. Nothing changes.
Jack Hill finds working out to be the best remedy to the monotony of his life at the Santa Rosa Correctional Institution in Florida.
Part of the routine we do, we'll come out here, we'll walk laps on the track. Some guys get into the basketball. You know, me, I get into dips, pull-ups, you know, push-ups, and stuff like that. Everybody's got their own little way of getting tension and aggravation. This is your stress release right here.
Hill has spent most of the past 35 years in prison. Besides a few releases on parole, he's had a couple of others of his own making. Not long after his conviction for burglary and assault, he was participating in a work release program and escaped.
I'm working outside. I met a girl. Yeah, you get to thinking with the wrong head. You're not thinking like you should. Remember now, you got a young kid here who's never had really no serious contact like that. She says, I love you, I don't want you to leave. Okay, let's go, right? Jump in the car, we didn't come back, right? That was my first escape, big escape, wasn't it? I got caught that night down the road. Yeah, real crash dummy.
A year later, Hill was back on work release, met another girl, and hit the road again.
From that point on until they got me, it was rock and roll. I was on the run for almost a year. Well, first went to Texas, you know, left Texas, went to Vegas, left Vegas, went to California, left California, come back to Texas, left Texas, come back to Florida, left Florida, went back to California, and then come to Alabama, and SWAT team got me.
Hill's escapes were from another Florida prison. No one has ever escaped from Santa Rosa. But escape was one of the first things that crossed the minds of corrections staff when they discovered a homemade handcuff key inside Lionel Bowden's deodorant container.
Having a handcuff key is like, you know, mainly for my defense, you know? Having a handcuff key is not really usual, but sometimes it's necessary. You know, theoretically speaking, you know.
Bowden, who is serving a 21-year sentence for armed robbery, says this isn't the first time he's received a disciplinary report, or DR, during his time in prison.
I've had dirty urine DR, possession of a weapon DR, possession of a handcuff key, you know, several disrespect DRs, a couple fighting DRs. During my 7 years since I've been incarcerated, I spent about 4 of them confined.
Bowden was already in the prison's close management unit when he was caught with the cuff key.
Lionel Bowden, V0550
Now, he must face the Institutional Classification Team, or ICT, who could change his status from close management level 2 to level 1, the highest security level in the entire prison.
You're currently at close management 2. Your classification officer is recommending upgrade to close management 1.
What were you planning to do with the handcuff key? Sell it.
Have you saw one before?
Yes, ma'am.
How much do you make for a handcuff key?
About $15 to $25.
You do realize the danger that presents this high security facility.
Yes, sir.
For $15 to $25, not only to you, but to other inmates and the staff as well. You do understand the seriousness of the consequences.
Yes, sir.
Anything else on that?
Yes, sir.
I'll step out.
Bowden will wait outside, but it only takes a matter of moments for the classification team to reach a decision.
Inmate Bell, the institutional classification team, we're going to recommend upgrade to close management 1. This recommendation goes to state classification, and they have the final decision. We're also approving a 2-year visitation suspension.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
No, ma'am.
Already considered a high security inmate, an upgrade to level 1 means that Bowden's existing privileges and movements will be even more restricted than before. Armando Doctor has been a close management 1 inmate at Santa Rosa for the past several months.
I've had him in out of my dorms with me for years since I've been here, and it's been a constant struggle. But he is one of the more extreme cases we've dealt with in his dorm as far as the constant cutting and the misbehavior.
Doctor's arms have only begun to heal since 2 cutting incidents weeks earlier.
I wasn't thinking at the time. I was just aggravated. I was angry. I couldn't think of anything else. I've done it periodically, off and on, over the years, when I felt that, you know, a situation that got too tough, that I couldn't deal with, and I might have retaliated physically. So I took the physical retaliation out on myself.
Doctor says his squinting is the result of being poked in the eye while in the infirmary, one of several allegations he has made against staff.
Doctor's allegation against staff is never found warranted. It was checked, but unfounded. He was wanting to be moved out of the dormitory, so he was using those allegations against staff to try to dictate where he could live.
While staff denies injuring him, Doctor has been injuring himself since childhood.
The first time I cut, I was in my teens, growing up in foster care. I felt they had done me wrong, taking me away from my family. You know, I wouldn't talk to nobody. I had a lot of good people that actually tried to take care of me. But my main problem was I never opened up, because at times when I tried, something always happened. So I always kept closed. And due to the fact that you're not my mother, you're not my father, you're not nobody in my bloodline, I wouldn't talk and I wouldn't try to be a part of the family.
Since his latest cutting incident, Doctor has moved back into his cell and has not received any further sanctions because the prison does not issue them for self-injuries.
He's got full property back. You know, he's allowed all of his outside activities. He's seen by mental health just recently, the last few days. He's been doing pretty good. He's been real quiet since he came back to us this time. We hadn't had any issues out of him.
But the incident that apparently triggered Doctor's cutting was a disciplinary hearing in which he was given additional time on close management level 1 for masturbating in public. Doctor still denies doing so.
I'm a Muslim, and we cannot carry ourselves in that manner. If we are alone and we have our thoughts to ourselves, that's another thing, but to overly do that, you know, it goes against what we believe in. So I had to leave that alone.
Don't tell them things that aren't true.
Sergeant McMacken, who was standing by for Doctor's interview, remembers things differently.
When I walked up to you, you had your privates in your right hand, you dropped it, stepped back, started sliding to the floor. And you said to me, "You got me, Sarge, you got me." Those were your exact words, "You got me." Why are you going to tell them on camera something different? So I walked up and caught you red-handed with it. And you said, "You got me." Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Because I'm the officer who wrote the disciplinary report on him for the lewd lascivious behavior. I physically saw him doing it, and at the time I called him, you know, he said, "You got me, Sarge, you know, I'm done, I'll sit down, I'll back away." And just listen to him tell you the opposite, putting me out there on Front Street like that didn't sit well with me, knowing that I'm the one that caught him, and he knew what he did. It didn't make me angry. It just, I expect these inmates to be truthful and to be treated the way I treat them. I don't treat them irresponsibly or disrespect any of them, and I expect them to show the same to me. It's a respect issue for me. For him to do that right in front of me kind of struck a nerve with me.
Coming up.
I think of what my dad told me, you know, back years ago. He said, "Don't never give up."
Jack Hill's personal pledge. And Jerez Williams celebrates freedom.
Let them know that the bitch is back. She's back for her crown.
Aside from a few failed attempts at parole and 2 escapes from prison work release programs, Jack Hill has spent the majority of his adult life behind bars. And those years have been further tarnished by his many losses.
I lost my father, my grandfather, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my great-grandfather, you know. I lost my sister, you know. I lost a brother, I lost my mother, my aunt, my uncle, yeah. Pretty much my whole family's passed away since I've been in here. I used to take mail and letters, you know, for granted. And I used to take visitations for granted. Now I don't have neither.
Hill says his late father's advice is what keeps him going.
I think of what my dad told me, you know, back years ago. He said, don't never give up. Whatever you do, son, don't never give up. You know, I think of the fact that my mother passed away while I was in here. And my goal is to win my case and have EOS, means expiration of sentence, stamped, done, paid in full. And I want to go lay it on her grave and tell her, Mom, I done it. I done it. I'm home.
Hill will eventually have another chance to fulfill his goal when he becomes eligible for parole again in the future. But for Jerez Williams, who has spent 7 months here for felony prostitution, the time is now.
Oh, today is my EOS date in the sentence, so I'm getting ready to go home. I'm real happy. I'm trying to contain it right now, so.
Did you sleep last night?
No, not at all. I've been up all night, all day.
Santa Rosa corrections officers will accompany Williams to the Pensacola bus station and stay with him until he boards a bus for home.
How's it feel walking out of here?
Like heaven. Like heaven. I'm ready for my freedom. It's been 7 months without it.
Okay. You're going to receive $50 when you get on the bus. I'll count it out for you. 10, 20, 30, 40, and $50. You will receive that when you get on the bus. In the meantime, I'll keep it with your paperwork.
Williams is given state-issued civilian clothing, but it probably won't compare to the outfit he was first arrested in.
Some hot shorts and a pair of snow boots and a leather jacket and a nice bra. That was it.
So what do you think of these books?
I guess I like them.
Are you going to be wearing this on the street?
No way. No, not at all. I would not be wearing this on the street. So I have clothes at home, so this is going to the trash or maybe burned as soon as possible.
Williams and another released inmate are loaded onto a transport van and within minutes are outside the confines of Santa Rosa.
Right. Oh, thank God it's over. It's funny. You never really appreciate the small things in life, like the trees and the grass, until you get out of places like this.
At the bus station, Williams makes a phone call to his sister. He has big plans for his first night home.
I'm in Pensacola, girl. I just got to the bus station. I'm waiting on my bus. So I'm gonna need a bottle of Ciroc, and I want a pack of Newport 1000. Yes, a fresh pack of Newport's 1000. My lace front hasn't been cut yet, so that means I need a fresh blade to cut my lace. I need an eyebrow archer. ASAP, yes. Oh, and lashes. I need my lashes ASAP. I want you to put up on Facebook. I want you to let them know that the bitch is back. She's back for her crown. The bitch is back. She's back for her crown. Yeah. And yeah, that part. So wait, what? That ain't the end of it. And let them fake hoes know to bow down. Everybody understand? You understand?
We don't